Hello viewers, I am your host Uzma Jafri. We begin the show with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi recently concluded four-nation visit which aims to strengthen economic ties and discuss about issues like counter-terrorism and climate change. Several key agreements were also signed during Modi's visit to Germany, Spain, France and Russia. We have a report.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi received a warm welcome in Berlin by German Chancellor Angela Merkel as they participated for the fourth round of a German-Indian government consultation. While discussing on strategic and business ties, India expressed keen interest in attracting more German companies to invest and improve bilateral relations. While addressing the Indo-German Business Summit in Berlin, Prime Minister Narendra Modi invited German businessmen to invest in India.
The opportunity range from building millions of houses to setting up thousands of smart cities, modernizations of railway networks and stations to setting up of a high-speed rail corridors, generation of renewable energy to construction of transmission and distribution network. In addition, there is an ever-growing need for national highways.
During his visit to Spain, Prime Minister Narendra Modi met Spanish Prime Minister Mariano Rajoy in Madrid and highlighted the need for joint cooperation against terrorism. Modi said no country was spared from terrorism and it has emerged as a challenge for humanity. The two countries signed 7 agreements, including on cybersecurity. The Indian Prime Minister also praised his Spanish counterpart for taking steps to further economic development in the country.
आज दुनिया का कोई भूभाग आतंकवाद की आफत से बचा नहीं। आए दिन आतंकवाद की घटनाओं की खबरें आती रहती हैं। आतंकवाद मानवता सामने एक चुनौती है। स्पेन ने और भारत ने दोनों ने आतंकवाद के परिणाम देखे हैं, बहुत कुछ सहन किया है और आतंकवाद के खिलाफ लड़ाई लड़ने में राष्ट्रपति लोहाय बड़े ही मक्कम हैं।
Later, Prime Minister Narendra Modi reached St. Petersburg and held talks with Russian President Vladimir Putin. Putin said India was set to become a full-fledged member of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization in a week's time. Russia also signed an agreement with the Indian government to build 2 new reactors for the Kudankulam nuclear power station in Tamil Nadu and said it would loan India $4.2 billion to help fund construction. Putin says Russia is ready to build a dozen nuclear reactors in India over the next 20 years.
В ходе нашей беседы с господином премьер-министром было отмечено успешное сотрудничество в сфере мирного атома. Хотел бы на это особо обратить внимание. Введен, как известно, в строй первый блок атомной электростанции Кудам-Кулам, при строительстве которого использовались самые современные и надежные российские технологии. Начал вырабатывать электроэнергию второй блок станции. А в октябре 2016 года на совместной с господином Моди видеоконференции мы дали старт сооружению 3-го и 4-го блоков АЭС. И мы еще раз подтвердили совместные планы возвести в Индии не менее 12 энергоблоков российского дизайна, что станет большим вкладом в реализацию планов по развитию атомной энергетики страны.
आज हमने सेंट पीटर्सबर्ग एक ऐलान एडॉप्ट किया है, डिक्लेरेशन एडॉप्ट किया है, एक ऐसा डिक्लेरेशन जो कि न केवल दोनों देशों के आर्थिक तथा राजनीतिक स्थिरता का विकास और मार्ग प्रशस्त करेगा, बल्कि वैश्विक उथल-पुथल में स्थिरता का एक बेंचमार्क साबित होगा.
Experts believe stronger ties between India and Russia are essential to deal with growing influence of China and the United States, the world's top economic powers.
A more empathetic relationship between India and Russia would give both of them more political and diplomatic and strategic space to deal with the other 2 major powers, that is United States and China. And there's a very interesting economic angle, which is that in about 15 years from now, even less than that, maybe 12 years from now, by the time we come to 2030, China is likely to be the world's #1 GDP, single state. The United States will be a close second. India will be a distant third, and Russia will be at the 14th position. So this will give you an idea about the economic ranking of these four countries. Therefore, it always makes sense for those who are positioned below the #1 and #2 powers economically to have a close and what I would call as a bilateral relationship where there is trust. And I think the Modi-Putin visit has really enabled what I would describe as, it's a bit early, but an infusion of that trust into a very important bilateral relationship.
To conclude his 6-day European tour, Prime Minister Modi reached Paris and held bilateral talks with French President Emmanuel Macron. He calls France most important strategic partner and discussed UN Security Council reforms and the matter of India's permanent membership in UNSC. PM Modi also raised issues of counter-terrorism and climate change with President Macron.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi's Europe and Russia visit is termed as crucial. To speak more on this, we are now joined by Ambassador Anil Thrugnayat. Mr. Thrugnayat, some key agreements were signed during PM Modi's four-nation visit. How will it help strengthen India's global engagements?
Well, as you know, that these visits to the four countries were extremely important for the India and European context. Three of the four countries, like Germany, Russia and France, have been India's strategic partners and especially strategic partners. Spain, this was the first visit in 3 decades by an Indian Prime Minister. In all these four countries, the biggest focus was on A, counterterrorism, B, on greater economic engagement, transfer of technology, major challenges that are facing the world. And therefore, our Prime Minister was able to convey India's stand on all these issues, as well as he was able to extract the maximum mileage out of the attracting more investments into India and transfer of technology, and discuss on the key issues. For example, immediately after the OBOR initiative of China, the climate change issues, new developments that have taken place after President Trump's onset on the scene, as well as his withdrawal from the climate change treaty. All these are very key issues. Similarly, India has very consistently talked about CCIT, Comprehensive Convention of International Terrorism, which has not been making any headway. But today, Prime Minister had discussions with all of them, and everybody has supported India's access to NSG, the export control regimes, as well as Wasimar arrangements. There we have got the support of all these countries, very clearly articulated.
Counter-terrorism remains one of the key focuses of PM Modi. How will these engagements help fight against terrorism?
Well, as you have must have seen from the reports, that counter-terrorism has figured in every single joint statement that we have signed with all the 3 countries so far, and we will be doing with France again. The terrorism India has suffered for decades now, and we know from where it is coming. So it is absolutely necessary for us to continue to collaborate through information exchange, which is extremely important, intelligence exchanges, collaborative training programs, and working together with these countries, which is what has been done during this visit. And whether it's Germany, whether it's Spain, whether it is Russia, all have committed and supported India's fight against terrorism.
Thank you, Mr. Thrugnayat. Moving on, a tragic incident in Afghanistan claimed over 90 lives. The suicide attack, which Afghan intelligence has blamed on Haqqani network, has also injured over 400 people in the capital's diplomatic quarter. The incident has seen worldwide condemnation. A report.
Bloodshed and violence rocked Kabul city on May 31. And the men behind this dreaded incident are allegedly from the Haqqani network, who carried out suicide bombing at city's diplomatic enclave with the help of Pakistani security services. As per the Afghan Intelligence Service, NDS, the Haqqani group is fighting US-led NATO forces and the Afghan government. The blast left a 16 feet deep crater near Zanbagh Square in the Wazir Akbar Khan district, where foreign embassies are located, including the Indian and German premises, which were badly damaged. Most of the fatalities were civilians, including women and children. 9 security guards at the US Embassy also died. Afghan President Ashraf Ghani condemned the truck bombing in Kabul and offered his condolences to the victim families in a video message.
د کابل ښار د نننۍ تورستي پیښې په اړه څه له امله یې زموږ یو شمېر هیوادوال شهیدان او ټپیان شول. عامه تاسیساتو او خلکو ته یې مالي زیانونه ورسول. د افغانستان عظیم ملت او په ځانګړي ډول د دغو قربانیانو کورنیو ته د خپل ژورې خواخوږي او تسلیت مراتب وړاندې کوو. دا ډیره وحشیانه او بده پیښه وه چې د روژې په مبارکه میاشت کې زموږ هیوادوال د ویر په ټغر کېنول.
The incident has been condemned by leaders worldwide. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres strongly condemned the attack, which killed at least 90 people and injured over 400 others.
The Secretary General expressed his abhorrence at this act and underlined the need to reinforce the fight against terrorism and violent extremism. Indiscriminate attacks against civilians are grave violations of human rights and international humanitarian law and can never be justified.
Afghanistan has seen a rise in violent attacks this year as the Taliban pushes to overthrow the US-backed government and reimpose Islamic law 16 years after it was removed from power following the 9/11 attacks. Since the withdrawal of most international troops in 2014, the extremists have gained ground and now control about 40% of the country, according to US estimates.
There are currently 8,500 US troops in Afghanistan, and Donald Trump is due to decide soon on a recommendation to send additional soldiers to bolster the NATO training force. Now we move to Sri Lanka, where rampant floods caused by torrential rains have wreaked havoc, killing hundreds and displacing thousands others. Emergency measures are being taken by the government, and international support has been pouring in from across the world. However, threat of any epidemic breakout is looming large over the island nation.
More than 200 people were killed and hundreds of thousands of others displaced by an intense flooding and mudslides caused by southwest monsoon and cyclone Mora in Sri Lanka. More than 500,000 people have been affected by these devastating floods. Water supplies have been contaminated. Electricity is down, houses and buildings destroyed or damaged, and transportation links are blocked. As the water recedes after the incessant rain stopped, people are queuing up in medical camps to get treatment for diseases such as diarrhea, as well as skin and lung infections due to exposure to contaminated water. However, medical professionals are concerned about other outbreaks.
There will be huge number of dengue patients. That's we are expecting that also. And since the people they have exposed to muddy water and some rainy water, and there's a chance of getting leptospirosis as well.
Aid and assistance from across the world has poured in, and around 24 countries have donated supplies, including water purification tablets and tents. Neighboring India was quick in reaching out to the island nation as it sent 3 ships and divers who have constantly been helping Sri Lankan Army, Navy and Air Force with relief and rescue efforts.
ආධාර අපිට ඉදිරිපත් කළ තිබෙනවා. මොකද බොහොම ශනිකව අපි විදේශ අමාත්‍යාංශය තුලින් මේ කරපු ඉල්ලීමට ප්‍රතිචාර ලැබිලා තියෙන එක අපට ලොකු සතුටක් බවට මේ අවස්ථාවේදී මතක් කරන්න කැමතියි.
However, access to remote villages still remains a challenge for the rescue and relief teams. Proactive actions by the government and relentless efforts by the men operating on the ground have brought the situation under control. However, heavy rainfall and low-intensity floods are regular occurrence in Sri Lanka. These floods are the worst to hit the island since May 2003, when 250 people were killed and 10,000 homes destroyed.
After hitting Sri Lanka, the powerful storm turned into Cyclone Mora. It has also wreaked havoc in Bangladesh, India and Myanmar. Moving on. Human rights violations in Pakistan's Balochistan province are now being actively raised in the West. Recently, Baloch political activists and leaders living in Europe and Canada carried out protests to demand justice for people in Balochistan. We have a report.
Shouting anti-Pakistan slogans in the streets of Germany's Dusseldorf city, these Baloch protesters expose Islamabad's misrule in Balochistan. Protesters carried banners and placards to highlight the exploitation of Balochistan's natural wealth resources by China and Pakistan. The protesters accused Pakistan of sponsoring terrorism and misusing their territory to carry out nuclear tests.
Pakistan forcibly occupied Balochistan in 1948. Ever since, Pakistan has been involved in a systematic violation of human rights to suppress the Baloch resistance to regain their freedom and independence.
Protests were organized across Europe and Canada by Free Balochistan movement. Protesters in London carried placards and banners reading slogans against Pakistan's nuclear weapons and the China-Pakistan nexus. Some banners and placards read, "Balochistan is not Pakistan," "Pakistan's nuclear weapons are a threat to world peace," and "China, hands off Balochistan." Leader of Free Balochistan movement, Harbayar Murray, strongly criticized the China-Pakistan economic corridor and said that China and Pakistan had once again colonized Balochistan.
China and Pakistan have recolonized Balochistan because we have heard about colonization in 17th century and 18th century, 19th century, 20th century. But this Balochistan colonization is a 21st century kind of colonization where even the head of UN goes to that kind of meeting, open meeting, one road, one belt. It's a conspiracy of international community as well against the Baloch.
Activists of Free Balochistan movement also organized demonstrations in Sweden's Gothenburg city. A large number of Swedish human rights activists participated in the protest to express their solidarity with the people of Balochistan. In Vancouver City of Canada, the Baloch activists organized an awareness campaign in front of the art gallery. Many Canadians and other people visited the awareness stall and expressed their support for the people of Balochistan.
The human rights situation in Balochistan is deteriorating. To know more on the situation, we are now joined by Ahmad Musti Khan, a journalist and Baloch political activist based in Washington, D.C. Mr. Ahmad, Baloch people have been struggling for their rights for long. How is the present situation there?
We have faced worse kind of brutalities. And this last uprising started in 2005 and it's ongoing now. It's more than 12 years. We have lost thousands of people. Thousands of people have been killed. In the past, the Baloch uprising would be limited to the mountains. But this time on, the army and the security forces have taken their atrocities to each and every home in Balochistan.
We have seen widespread protests by Baloch activists across the world. Why is the international community silent on the Baloch issue?
The international community has turned a blind eye. They are deaf, and the Pakistani Army GHQ generals are very sharp, very cunning. They try to always cultivate forces in the West that will let them go up, do whatever they want. So in the US, I'm pretty sure the US got a very vast network of knowing what's going on in any part of the world. But they have not spoken out on the gross human rights violation, the crimes against humanity, and war crimes in Balochistan, simply because their military is in Afghanistan and they want to continue dealing with the Pakistani GHQ.
Thank you, Mr. Ahmer, for sharing your thoughts. Moving on. India and Nepal share friendly relations and both always strive to further improve them. A cultural event based on the life of poet Rabindranath Tagore was organized in Kathmandu to boost cultural ties between the two neighbors.
Ruchika Theatre Group from New Delhi staged a drama based on life of famous Indian poet and Nobel laureate Rabindranath Tagore. The drama, titled A Quiet Desire, set in the 19th century, depicts the life of young Tagore through prose, poetry and music. The story sheds light on his relationship with his brother and sister-in-law, Kadambari. It also talks of Kadambari's suicide within 4 months of Rabindranath's marriage. The drama also talks about his struggling days before he achieved any greatness. The show was held under the aegis of BP Koirala India-Nepal Foundation to further enhance the cultural ties between the two countries. Nepal's culture minister acknowledged the event and asserted at the growing ties between the two countries.
We all know that December 1991 is very important for us because BP Koirala India-Nepal Foundation was established to promote and strengthen the relation between Nepal and India. The foundation has aimed to share knowledge through the extension of relation and developing understanding to deepen age-old bond of friendship between the two countries, Nepal and India.
We all are very well aware, and it is a sort of thing that you always hear and talk about the close cultural ties that India and Nepal share linguistically and in different art forms. And so it is indeed a great pleasure for us that you could find time to come. Congratulations to all the artists.
India and Nepal enjoy a similar history, culture and religion. Such events help to strengthen bonds and help bring people come together.
Culture not only gives an insight into others' lifestyle but also plays a pivotal role in bringing the countries together. Now I take your leave with some pictures of celebrations during the holy month of Ramadan in South Asia. Goodbye and take care.